Hello, all my little fluffs. Mewtwo here with you today with more on house buying. House buying, part 2, Electric Boogaloo. So, welcome to You Had Your Money Saved Up. Good work. Very important when you go to actually pick a house. Look at all the houses in a general area you're hoping to be in. If you have friends in the area or you've lived in that area and you know the bad zones of an area, of a town or city zone, obviously, don't look at those areas. If you know there's a crime area around, specifically around the city, like South Central, Indiana, Fort Wayne, just skip looking at houses there. And a good thing to think about, I use the $100,000 house as the initial example here. Don't be afraid to look at things a little higher and a little lower than your price range. Going a little up or down is not actually going to make the monthly payment that much different comparatively. And sometimes it doesn't hurt to squeeze a little each direction, depending on if the house is just perfect for you. You never know. You may be going out there with that $100,000 concept budget for where you're living, and you find this great place that's 90. Well, hot diggity, go with it. I'm not going to say don't. Then again, you might find one that's, I don't know, 120. And you'd be like, whoa, that's another 2,000 down. Again, this is why I said, save up, good double your expected down payment for all the fees and unexpected bonus costs. So, to do the actual shopping process, you're going to need a realtor, an actual humanoid person that's going to go with you, make arrangements with a realtor that is selling the house for the other person, get the keys or the lockbox code or whatever it is they have to enter the building, and they will get you entrance. Don't look at just one or two houses. Look at quite a few. Definitely what we found is I looked on Realtor.com and Zillow.com, and I found a bunch of houses that were on sale at the moment. I gave several of those to my realtor, and she arranged to get us into as many of them as she could because, lo and behold, a couple of them, even of the first batch, had sold between the time I looked them up, gave her these stuff, and that particular weekend rolled around that we could go look at it. Of course, you've got to go around the days are free to go look or take days off work, whatever you got to do. Look at a lot of houses. Don't necessarily think you have to buy from what you see on day one. But definitely on day one's trip out, pick the biggest winner of what you saw. And definitely cross the losers off the list. In the end, sometimes you will have to settle because you literally cannot have everything in one place. I want a mountain house with a big flat area next to the ocean with both mild summer and mild winter, and it's like just this place does not exist. This involves 6 different houses to make these particular goals all met. We went with a very tree-filled area as opposed to an area with a water feature nearby because it was the one that we actually liked the best, and trees do help keep an area cooler and more comfortable, and it's nice for the environment. It's a prettier place to be. So, pick your poison, but also pick the house that actually feels like it'll be the right thing for you. Uh, Depending on where you are in the country, central air conditioning can be actually really important. Don't look down on that as a expensive, pointless add-on. Even if you never lived with central air, the moment you have it, you'll know why you wanted it. Um, Make sure when you're looking at the places you're thinking about getting, look at room shapes. You don't have to be 100% planned out of what you're going to do with your rooms. We moved from a one-bedroom apartment with a living room and a dining room / kitchen zone to a four-bedroom house with two living rooms, a kitchen, a separate dining room, and a garage, and a backyard, and a shed. We didn't have furniture for all these things, so we didn't necessarily have perfect plans. We had some ideas, mind you. In fact, we were looking at furniture, and this is not a bad thing either. Shop for furniture occasionally, and maybe, you know, hairpin pick out a couch you like. You don't have to be set on it for sure, but if you say pick a new couch or a new bed or something, and you want to work around that fitting into your house, think about that. Does it fit in the living room you're looking at? Or are you going to need to look at another couch? That's fine. You can always go back to Value City and look at a different couch. But give yourself some options and some ideas and take some concepts of the rooms and go, that's the bedroom we'll sleep in. That's the one we'll use to store things. That'd be a good one to work in. This living room looks nice enough. I could put the couch here and the TV there. Um, Not everything will always be perfect in the house you do pick. Again, no situation is 100% perfect, and eventually you hit a price wall of it costs too much to be bigger than what you can afford. So we sacrificed a little on the kitchen. A little. I'm not going to say I got a horrible kitchen, but I could have had a bigger one. And that's okay. My kitchen is more than big enough for what we do. There's only two of us, so I don't need to have 5 miles of counter space. It's you do with what you do, and you accept for what you're getting, what else you are getting. But yeah, look at the rooms. Make some concepts. You don't have to be ready to fill a house 110% full and have to worry about getting an extra storage shed out back for your stuff if you don't have that much stuff yet. Uh, but be ready for that. Have some thoughts. When you're looking at the house with your realtor, walk around it. Say you have parts that you really do need to have spaces for, like your desks that you work at home from. This is something we definitely have to deal with. So we need to have spaces where we could put our work desks. We need to make sure it was a big enough space. They were corner desks, so we need to have some nice sized big corners with good power outlets. That came up in one of the houses. Did not have good power outlets. It was the first time I ever saw someone who, you know those little things you put in a power outlet that's only 2 prongs to make it a 3-prong outlet? Not only were they using those in that room, they actually, I never saw someone do this. They did screw the grounding screw in to the plate, which it is what you're supposed to do. Never saw anyone do that in the past. No one I know has ever done that. In fact, most people I know weasel that little loop off just because they find it annoying. But yeah, they had those in there, and I was like, I don't know if I want to make that my work room or plug anything electronic in that room. Let's go look at another house. But keep an eye out for something that might have the right amount of space. And space that is actually 100% usable. Just because a house has more floor space doesn't mean it's going to be what you need. One of the houses we almost bought had 4 bedrooms, but only the master bedroom was moderately big. The other 3 were pretty much postage stamps. This house that we were looking at had pretty much the same square footage as the one we did buy. And it had a basement. And an attic over the whole thing. It was a single floor with a basement and an attic. And you're like, why didn't you get this? What is wrong with you, stupid? It had some issues. It had some leaking, we could tell, in the basement. The garage did not have a finished floor. It had a gravel floor on an attached garage. The only way to get to the basement was you had to go into the garage and then go to the basement, which, again, the garage, not a finished floor, so this is not a sealed environment. And having to walk across a gravel floor to get to the basement, you're going to be wearing shoes 100%. This is not a slipper situation or you hurt your toots. The main rooms were big and weird shaped, which we liked, but they wouldn't necessarily fit needs. So there's something you got to keep in mind. Do the shapes of the room really condone what you could or would do with them? In that case, in that particular case of the house, since we do want to shut work off in a bedroom, would not have worked very well for us. Because one bedroom is the actual bedroom, the master bedroom, with the bed. Okay, that's the sleeping space. We would have had to spend 2 of those other bedrooms as the workrooms because we could not physically fit our work desks in there. Since we talk on the phone, we would, if we were in the same room that was that tight, we would be talking over each other so bad. That was not a comfortable idea. And since we did want to have at least one guest room for when family were visiting, it kind of unsold on us. So keep an eye on the size of the rooms, electrical outlets, what kind of heating and water you have at the location. That one also had well water. There's nothing wrong with well water, but well water is something you are responsible for making sure it's working, clean, and checked out every so often. City water is the city's responsibility. And you still have to pay for some kind of sewage. That one had city sewage, which means you're still paying the city mostly the same fee you would have for the water, and all you're getting is to get rid of the water. So keep that in mind. A couple of the houses we did look at were well water, which, again, not a deal breaker, but something to put in consideration. Does this house have water I am responsible for? Does it appear to be in a location where I'm comfortable with what's in the ground? As in, is the water potentially going to be tainted or yucky? And that can make a big difference. Parking, internet connection speed. You can call the local ISP and find out what they're willing to offer at a location before you even move there. I've done that when we got the apartment. I've done that when we got this house. I made sure we were going to have good enough internet connection to do what we need to do for work and for recreation. Fortunately, this house, capable of 100 by 100 FiOS when we got it, and now we can get the 150 by 150, which we decided we don't care because we're actually good. We're fine at 100 by 100. That's lovely. Parking situation is very much an important part. Does the house have a garage? Is it attached? Does it have a paved floor or a gravel floor if it is attached or detached? We looked at least one with a detached garage with a gravel floor. That, again, does not unsell it, but it's a It's a factor. It's something to look into. What does and doesn't fit your needs? Is a basement even feasible in the area where you're looking? Every place we looked at with a basement in this particular area had signs of flooding or runoff in the walls. So we ended up getting a house that did not have a basement. And that's fine. That did not break our deal. That is something we wanted, but it was something we did not get. We did, however, have an attached garage with a pavement floor, a cement floor. So we have a nice, effective two-car garage that we have one car parked in, and the other half is, well, what we would have done with the basement anyway. So that's an option. Remember, you don't always get the exact thing you want, but sometimes you get something that's similar and possibly better, depending on how you look at it. There are so many things to look into when picking the right place for you, and that I can't always tell you what would be right for you. I don't know how much space you personally need, but make sure you get someplace that is going to be adequate for your needs for today and for the next 15 to 30 years. Because you don't want to be selling your house for at least 10 years or you're going to start losing money on the process. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that you may need a little growth space past what you think you actually want. So far in 5 years, we have not outgrown this house. Knock on wood. And I hope to not outgrow it, period. But if it happens, and you've put enough equity in your house, you can then work on trading up to something bigger, because everything you've paid into that house up until now is equity. When you sell that house, you still get much of that money back then, because you already owned that. You don't have to pay the rest back to the bank. So, profit. The difference, of course, when you're paying rent, you don't get any of that money back. You pay that landlord that $700 a month for the last 20 years, and what does he get? What do you get out of it? Hopefully a good credit rating from him actually reporting you to the credit bureaus. And that's not even always a guarantee. So, keep that in mind. And buying the house does also get you further good credit. So your credit cards might even give you bigger available balances, which you can then turn into better credit for the next time you try and buy a house or a car or anything else that's going to involve you having to settle up a little loan action. Well, I think we've gone into a few good steps here on this edition of House Buying, Part 2. I will be back with you again, probably next week, about the same time, with Part 3. We'll get into some other little tidbits of what house buying actually entails. So for now, please don't forget both my Patreon link and my Ko-fi link in the description box below, both of which are great ways to support me and my channel and help me make better videos for you, my awesome public. And of course, like I say, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little dingly bell. If not, do all those things. Anyway, this is Mewtwo. I'm going to sign off and do some Pokemon things. Thank you for spending time with this little Pokemon, learning a little bit about home ownership. I look forward to further educating you in, well, another week. See you all again real soon.